Now, I'm a movie buff, an all-round movie buff, and I'm a hardcore horror fan. Always have been, always will be. But I'm honest, and I know when I need to take off that horror cap and tell the truth to everybody. If you're into horror and you like hardcore horror, this movie's for you. You're gonna fucking love this. If you're not really into horror, then you're not gonna like this at all. This is not for you. Believe me, not for you. Don't watch it. You can watch it if you want, if you're curious, by all means. But I'm telling you now, this is made for the hardcore horror fan. And the way the movie kicks off is I thought that it was a home invasion in the beginning. There's a young man and an older man who we assume is a father and son team. They gun down a young lady trying to run out of a house, and a young man escapes this house and into the nearby woods. They burn this young lady alive. She's still alive after she's shot. The young man gets away and gets onto a main road where there's a cop who's parked there, just about to finish up. He's on the two-way saying, he's about to go home, have a beer, watch some baseball, whatever. And obviously, he sees this young man on the road, scoops him up into the vehicle, and takes him to the hospital because he's hurt, he's wounded. Now, the nearest hospital recently had a fire. Everyone's pretty much gone. There's only like a doctor, a nurse, there's a patient there, and one other person, another nurse, who they're basically just getting ready to move into like another bigger hospital and shut this one down. Now, the police officer decides to go there because it's the closest hospital and wants to get this young man some attention ASAP. So once he gets to the hospital, he's fucked. These people are trapped there because we're introduced to a cult who's hanging around outside in their white hoods with a black triangle on them. And they're armed with knives, and there's heaps of them. We're talking, at least 30 of the fuckers just creepily standing around outside, and they attack you if you try and leave. And it's not long after that the father and son from the beginning who gunned down the young lady and burnt her rock up to the hospital as well, and they're still after this young man. We're not sure why yet, but all is revealed. It's all got to do with the cult, and it wasn't a home invasion. Now, from here, things get a bit fucked up. People try to kill each other. Then, the people that die, if someone dies, they transform into these tentacled fucking creatures. Straight out of fucking like some sort of H.P. Lovecraft film. Now, guys, girls, if you like H.P. Lovecraft, if you like John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness, if you like John Carpenter's The Thing, if you like Hellraiser, or anything in between those films, you're going to fucking love this, because I feel that all of those films really, really have inspired this movie. This movie really borrows a lot of things from all of those films, and it's definitely has the feeling of those films in this. Don't get me wrong, it is a film on its own, but it definitely does borrow from all of those films. It has that same kind of feeling. And I feel that it's highly influenced from all of those, particularly towards the end. There's a scene where walls are enclosing and someone's running through them, being chased by a creature. That is 100% from Hellraiser. The exact same thing happens in Hellraiser. Anyway, shit starts happening in this hospital. People are going crazy. They're killing each other. If you die, you turn into a creature. And a tentacled fucking ugly creature. And these are all practical effects, which I like. However, they were a bit cheap looking. Like this really looks like a movie from the 80s or 90s with the practical effects that are really kind of like Clive Barker-ish dodgy. Like they could have been better. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a great movie. I love what it's doing, but the practical effects could have been better. And I don't like too much CGI in a film. I know that CGI is necessary sometimes, and the movie has minimal CGI. It only uses it where it absolutely has to. But the practical effects, I think, could have been a bit better. Having said that, there's an awesome scene in the basement where all of these botched experiments and creatures are running around loose. And there's one fucked up one in particular where it's like kind of crawling around backwards like Exorcist style, but it's all double fucking triple jointed. And man, that thing is absolutely hideous. Now, during the appearance of this fucked up Exorcist looking thing, the editing wasn't done very well in this film either. Definitely loses points on editing. It cuts out some critical bits. Like, that creature was probably one of the creepiest fucking things you've ever seen. And as it's moving towards its victim, this old man, it cuts away and then cuts back to the creature, and all you see is the old man's legs being dragged around the corner. It just, like, we missed so much of that fucking scene. Like, where did it go? Like, I think this film was on a tight budget, and if they screwed up some of the footage, they couldn't go back and reshoot. Like, it is what it is. I think they only had to use what they had to use. So the film's definitely on a budget, and you can tell. But having said that, the acting is great. You care about the characters. The practical effects are good for the most part. I think they could have been better, 100%. You know, particularly the bigger creatures that, you know, go around on all fours and stuff, which you're going to see, guys. Like, I'm only giving you little bits and pieces here. I'm not telling you, like, anything that's going to spoil the film. You've already seen most of the shit I'm telling you in the trailer behind me, up there, that's playing. You can see it all, so I'm not spoiling anything. But there is a villain, and the villain is actually in this hospital, and he's obviously trying to do something in combination with the Void and our world. There are parts in this film where reality is altered, and it's obvious. Reality can be altered in this film, and it's got to do, obviously, with the powers that are coming from the Void. And, you know, I can't give too much away, but these people basically have to fight to survive and not let this alternate reality get to them. If they get seduced, it's like the Void's trying to seduce these people. And if you kill someone for the Void, when you die, you turn into this fucking creature, it appears. So you have to try and not to be seduced by the Void. Don't let it trick you into killing anybody, which happens throughout the film. And then the very end, obviously there's a showdown with the villain. The end is they just try. There's no closure. They try and be very clever with the end, but some things just don't make sense. You know, someone that appeared to be dead earlier on is, you know, in another scene at the end, and there's just no fucking closure. Like, I don't mind leaving the ending of a film for the viewer to interpret in their minds, but this is just like a little bit ridiculous. We don't get many answers. I'm not happy with the way the film ends, so definitely has weak points. You know, the editing, the practical effects. You know, a lot of people, I'm going to get into trouble for mentioning practical effects because, you know, hardcore horror fans, we love practical effects, but these could have been fucking better. It's not the 80s anymore. It's 2017, for fuck's sake. They could have been better. The ending and the closure and fucking making sense is also a bit of a joke. Like, I don't like how the movie ended whatsoever. I liked where it was leading up to, definitely could have been ended a lot better. Rating this movie out of my evil scale of 13, I will give The Void a 9. You know, it could have been pushing 10s and 11s if it didn't have these weak points. You know, if it wasn't for the weak points, the movie was definitely going in the right direction. Definitely had some fucking awesome, brilliant, original ideas, and I was excited to see what they did with it. Unfortunately, some things fell flat, but that doesn't mean the movie's shit by any means. This is a must-watch for horror fans. You guys will love this, you know. If you can set aside some of the dodgy practical effects, which, you know, that's my opinion anyway. Some of them are really awesome. I just felt some of them were a little bit weak. Particularly, you know, that we're in the year 2017. I thought they could have been a lot better compared to like 80s movies, unless they were going for that 80s kind of feel. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. You know, if they just sort of improved on a few things and maybe had a bigger budget, maybe that was just a problem, like the budget. Like, you know, I don't want to shit can the movie or make it sound like they didn't do a good job. They did a fantastic, fucking unbelievable job. Considering, you know, if the budget was small, I absolutely, my hat is off to them. This is a fantastic, it's a great movie. You know, guys, hardcore horror fans, watch this. Let me know what you think, hardcore horror fans. I'd love to discuss this film further. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe, show your support, stay tuned to the channel.